Welcome to Rise Above, where we bring you inspiring stories of resilience and triumph. Today, we have four incredible guests who will share their experiences of living in the USA and the challenges they faced on their journey. Each guest has a unique story filled with moments of adversity and perseverance. Through their narrative, we'll explore the situations that allow them to overcome obstacles and continue moving forward despite the odds. Get ready to be inspired by these remarkable individuals who exemplify the true spirit of rising above. Stay tuned as we dive into their journeys and discover the strength and determination that help them achieve their dreams. Rising above as an immigrant in the USA involves navigating various challenges and leveraging opportunities. Here are some strategies and pieces of advice that can be helpful. First, learn the language. Language classes, enrolling English language classes, community colleges, libraries, and community centers often offer affordable or free courses. Let's remember that they are the adult schools that are free, and you can also take advantage of that. Practice daily. Engage in conversations, watch English language media, and practice reading and writing in English. Second, education and skill development. Continued education. Pursue further education or certification in your field. Many immigrants have credentials that are not recognized in the USA, so additional education might be necessary. Vocational training. Consider vocational training programs that provide specific skills for in-demand jobs. Third, build a professional network. Join professional associations. Many professions have local and national associations that provide networking opportunities. Attend community events. Participate in community events and local meetups to expand your network. Fourth, employment strategies. Tailor your resume. Adapt your resume to fit US standards and highlight transferable skills. Seek entry-level positions. Be willing to start with entry-level positions to gain local experience and work your way up. Fifth, legal and financial planning. Legal assistance. Seek advice from immigration lawyers for nonprofit organizations to ensure your immigration status and rights are in order. Financial literacy. Learn about the U.S. financial system, including banking, credit, and taxes. Community organizations often provide workshops. Sixth point, cultural adaptation. Cultural awareness. Learn about American customs, traditions, and social norms to better integrate into society. Maintain your heritage. While adapting to a new culture, also maintain and celebrate your own heritage. This can provide a sense of stability and identity. Seventh, community involvement. Volunteer. Volunteering can provide valuable experience, help you learn about your community, and expand your network. Support groups. Join support groups or immigrant associations that offer guidance and a sense of belonging. Eighth, health and well-being. Access healthcare. Familiarize yourself with the U.S. healthcare system and access services as needed. Many communities have clinics that offer services on a sliding scale. Mental health. Transitioning to a new country can be stressful. Seek mental health support if needed. Ninth, set clear goals. Short-term and long-term goals. Set achievable short-term goals and work steadily towards your long-term aspirations. Stay persistent. Understand that progress may be slow at times, but persistence is key. 10th, stay informed. Local resources. Utilize local resources such as community centers, libraries, and immigrants advocacy groups. Keep updated. Stay informed about changes in immigration laws and policies that might affect your status or opportunities. As we dive in, we're going to start with our guests, and after we're going to be commenting on other strategies to continue our growth as immigrants in the USA. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rise Above. We have a wonderful guest joining us today. Please introduce yourself. What's your name? Where are you from? And what do you do for a living?
My name is Gil Whelan. I'm from Australia and I am the founding director and chief operating officer of MNB Technology and BioRemit Technology. We are in the business of remediating soil and water and eliminating chemicals and oil spills from soil and water.
Australia, what a beautiful country. So, tell us about your experience moving to the land of opportunities, the United States. What challenges did you face during this transition and how did you overcome them?
My opportunities were based on my experiences in the airline business, so therefore it was a fairly easy road for me, and I didn't have to have the probably some of the problems that are encountered by immigrants, because they come to the United States for economic reasons mostly, and when they arrive in the United States, they are faced with a multitude of challenges, language being one of them, uh, expertise being another. So there are various things that, fortunately, from my standpoint, I didn't have to encounter.
Let's shift our focus to something we can all relate to making new friends and the feeling of homesickness. Can you share your experiences with forging new connections in a new place? And have you ever grappled with homesickness? Feel free to share any anecdotes or examples.
Finding new friends in the United States is very difficult. I would suggest that it's probably the most difficult country in the world to find new friends, because Americans are very insular. And I noticed this mostly I've lived in 7 different countries, and I find that finding, having, or making new friends in places like Singapore or the UK or Australia or Vietnam or Malaysia, where I've lived, is extremely simple. But in the United States, people tend to be more family oriented and will, after work, they will go straight home instead of gathering with their friends.
I also share this feeling. It's a lot more challenging to make a strong, valuable relationships with locals because we don't share the same cultural norms and backgrounds. On the contrary, it becomes a lot easier to connect with fellow expats or foreigners due to the shared experiences and cultural similarities. Now, switching gears, can you please share how do you face big challenges? All of us encounter moments where we don't know what to do and everything seems to be too much. We have to act, we have to do something to overcome all the challenges. Can you comment a little bit more on this from your personal experience?
One of the things that I mentioned earlier is you have challenges, and that is economics, and it's also the language. But my first advice to you is look at things as a marathon and not as a sprint. If things don't work out for you in the first week, don't give up. If things don't out for you in the first month, don't give up. I revert back to many years ago. Sir Winston Churchill gave a speech, a commencement speech, and I'm not quite sure whether it was Oxford or Cambridge. And he walked into the room in his customary bowler hat and cigar, placed the hat on the lectern, placed the cigar in the ashtray, looked at the crowd, and said, "Never give up, never give up, never give up." Picked up his hat and cigar and left. Now, never give up, never give up, never give up is probably the shortest commencement speech in the history of commencement speeches. But if you think about it from a logical standpoint, it was more powerful than somebody sitting there and talking to you for an hour about experiences. Because all he's saying to you is, you have a path, you know what your path is. Don't give up halfway through. Don't don't take the shortcuts, because the shortcuts you'll end up being disappointed, and you will then give up.
Wow, never give up is a powerful reminder of resilience and determination in the face of adversity. This commitment to victory serves as a timeless beacon of hope and perseverance, reminding us that even in our darkest hours, we must never lose faith in our ability to overcome challenges and emerge stronger. Gil, your reflection on Churchill's message is truly inspiring. Delving into his biography can offer valuable insights into resilience and determination. Now I feel inspired to learn more about these words. Never give up. It's so important for each of us. Now, can you please share a little bit more? How can we decide when it's time to switch careers When it's time to move on and seek for more growth and opportunities if you feel stagnant at work, what would be your advice?
I've changed disciplines several times. I went through school as an architect and never worked at it one day of my life. I left and went to play professional football in the UK. When I came back from the UK, I was hired by an airline, when I was hired by an airline, I'd only ever flown an aeroplane once before in my entire life. So I've changed careers many, many times because it depended entirely on what I felt was more beneficial to me, to my family, and to my my advancement as far as career is concerned. So I've gone from being an architect to a football player to a airline executive to now I'm in bioremediation, and I know nothing about it, but my expertise is putting together teams. And while I know very little about exactly what my business does, the people that I employ do. When I ran an airline, I didn't know how to fly a plane and I didn't know how to take a reservation. Couldn't cook for 400 people, but I knew how to put the team together that does that. So while I've changed disciplines many times, my ideas of why I changed were virtually the same.
Higher education is frequently viewed as a pathway to financial stability, personal fulfillment, and social prestige. However, this trend raises important questions about the future of essential trades and the potential for economic imbalance if skilled labor shortages continue to grow. Gil, considering this shift, what are your thoughts on how society can better promote and value blue-collar careers to ensure we meet future demands in essential trades?
A lot of the younger people these days are going into the computer sciences, software sciences, and so on and so forth. But realistically, all you're doing is inventing something to put yourself out of a job. I would encourage people to look at trades, look at electricians, look at being a plumber, look at being a plasterer, look at being a builder, look at being a bricklayer, because those are the types of people who will never be out of a job. For example, I gave a speech to an incoming class at one point in time, and I asked people what they were going to go into, which disciplines they were going to go into, and I asked for doctors, a few hands raised, lawyers, a few hands raised, but when I asked for a plumber, no hands raised. When I asked for computer sciences, 1,000 hands raised. The problem that you have with that is that again, as I say, you're trying to invent something to put yourself out of a job, and most people in the computer sciences are at a use-by date when they're 50. And a lot of friends of mine who were very high-ranking executives in the software business are now driving Uber. So it comes down to what is going to be a necessity in the next couple of years. And the necessities are always going to be people in the building trades. Now, I didn't follow that. I mean, architecture, yes, but I did that mainly because our family built factories. But the situation is going to be that trades are going to become more important, and some people said to me, yes, but they're low-paying jobs. The plumber charges me $500 an hour, so I'm trying to work out why that is a low-paying job. So, and again, as I say, a plumber, electrician, or a builder, they're never going to be out of a job.
Absolutely, it's so true. Trade professions play a crucial role in our society, from construction and plumbing to electrical work and automotive repair. These jobs are the backbone of our infrastructure and economy, offering stable careers with endless potential for growth and success. Now, I'd like to ask you, what advice would you offer to those facing difficult and challenging situations, whether it's navigating career changes, overcoming personal obstacles, or dealing with unexpected setbacks? Your insight could provide invaluable guidance to those in need.
Given the world we live in today, you need to adapt. It's very simple. You need to adapt, and I hear a lot of complaints about California being, overpriced. It's too expensive to live here. You don't have to live in California. You can move to another place where the jobs are just as plentiful, and perhaps even more so. But my advice would be, look, everybody's going to be faced with challenges. I've been faced with challenges. Everybody is going to be. So accept the challenge, sit down and work out how to overcome the challenge. It's not simple, but if life was simple, everybody would be doing exactly the same thing. But we're all, at one point in time in our life, are going to be faced with challenges. And I dare say that there's everybody at one point in time is faced with challenges. So let's, again, as I say, life is, and your new life here in the United States, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you have to sit down and work out what is best for you, and really never give up.
Thank you, Gil, for taking the time to share your insights and experiences with us. Your wisdom and perspective are invaluable, and I have no doubt that your words will inspire others to overcome their own challenges and pursue their dreams with determination and resilience. Your willingness to open up and share your journey is truly commendable, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn from you.
Anytime, anytime.
Tonight we have a special guest. She is going to introduce herself and we're going to learn a little bit more about her journey in the USA.
My name is Nilda Fernandez. I come from Peru and I live in the United States for 43 years.
Wow, that's a very long time. Nilda, can you share a little bit what motivated you to immigrate to this country? How did you make that decision?
Okay, that's a very good question. My motivation basically was to come to this country because it's the land of opportunities. I wanted to change my economic situation. Also, the reason why I left Peru is the violence mostly. In the 1980s, we were facing the terrorism. So that really scared me. Opportunities in this country is the motivation that I had.
Definitely, that's a very valid reason to look for more opportunities abroad. Switching gears, do you remember what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when first arriving in the USA? What state did you immigrate to, and how did you choose the city where you came?
Right. I had a good friend in Peru who was a CEO. He traveled a lot. So when I told him that I am thinking to come to USA, I was thinking to come to Florida in the beginning. He said, no, Florida, you will never learn English. So I recommend you California and specifically the city of San Francisco. He told me that San Francisco is a really compact city. I didn't need a car because transportation is great. So recommended by this person is when I made the decision to come to California, specifically the city of San Francisco. The biggest challenge that I encountered when I came here it was the language. I didn't speak any English. It was zero. So that was when I kind of regretted in the beginning because I couldn't communicate with anybody. In the 80s, not many Spanish-speaking people were around here in San Francisco,
It was a different time.
Completely different time, exactly.
But Nilda, now you speak very fluently. So how did you navigate the language barrier when you just started? And what strategies did you use to communicate effectively? What did you do? How did you start adjusting to learn and also to gain confidence?
Exactly. The first thing I did is I put myself in intensive English classes for a month. In San Francisco, the ESL classes, I was going to school Monday to Friday from 8 in the morning to 4 p.m. for a month. So it was a very sophisticated school. And after a month, I could say that I was pretty much understanding a lot and able to communicate with people. So with that English, I started looking for a job in the newspaper. And I found an au pair job with this family, the doctor's family, and they needed a person who either speaks Spanish or French. So I applied for a job. I went to the interview. The lady spoke Spanish, and after a week, she decided and she hired me.
Wow, that's really nice. Were there any cultural differences that you found particularly challenging to adjust to, and how did you adapt?
Well, the culture difference is like day and night. Coming from Peru, specifically from the jungle, I would say we are very family oriented, and here is very individual. You are on your own. So that's the families. That's what is really shocking me, the cultural difference, the way of living here. In that time, I didn't see poverty, I would say. Everybody for me looked like everybody's rich, see? So little by little, I tried to adjust to the culture. And thank God I met wonderful people who I really stuck with them, I would say, in a way that I learned a lot from this family, because I was working 7 days a week, Monday through Friday with one family, Saturdays and Sundays with another family. They all spoke English, no Spanish at all. So I was really getting this adjustment pretty easy, I would say. I was 24 years old when I arrived here. And I am the kind of person who the resilience is my number one. I don't give up easily, you know. So that helped me a lot. And all the another quality that I would say that I have is I see positive things. I don't see the negative in anything. Even it could be a negative experience, but there is always something positive. So that helped me.
Right. I think that's a great way to see life, with a positive lens. And then you can adjust and you can always learn something new from any experience. So that's really good. Did you encounter any discrimination or bias in your new community? And how did you cope with these experiences?
I never felt any discrimination. I saw discrimination in other people, but I didn't experience discrimination or racism personally.
That's remarkable. Now, shifting our focus, what resources or support systems did you find most helpful during your transition in San Francisco, California?
Good question. I asked people where the Spanish community, are the most. So they told me that I should go to the Mission District in San Francisco. So I went to the Mission District and I started talking to people. Like my bank was there. I used to do my shopping and I made friends. I started going to Cuban restaurants, Peruvian restaurants. So I met friends basically right away.
That's really good. Now, did you face any difficulties in finding employment or accessing education and healthcare? And how did you cope with this?
Right. Education, no, because I continue my English classes after the intensive classes that I took for a month. I started going to a school, which was a free school in John Adams High School in San Francisco, every day for 2 hours. So finding a job was no, I never find difficulties looking for a job.
Were you very open to any type of jobs, or you were very selective? Like you were, oh, I only want to work doing this or that, or you were just open for any opportunity?
I was open for any opportunities. I had like 17 jobs, I would say. I worked day and night. I was babysitting. I was cleaning houses. I was taking care of elderly people. I was doing everything. I was housing, cleaning sidewalks in San Francisco, helping a friend. I was helping a janitor cleaning banks in the evenings. I was working cleaning offices in the evenings. I did because I had friends at school, so I always asked, do you have any job for me? So they was, oh, Nilda, help me tonight. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So, yeah.
Great. So you're a hardworking person, and you always look for opportunities to continue growing and finding different jobs so you could support yourself, because the cost of living is different here, and also you were probably helping your family back home.
Totally, because when I was working in Peru, I was making My salary monthly in Peru, probably that time in the 80s, was like $100 a month. So when I came here, I started making like $200 a week.
Wow, that's a
So
huge difference.
it was a huge difference. So that is why I was able to emigrate. Basically, my whole family, all my siblings, one by one, I helped them to emigrate to this country.
Wow, what an awesome opportunity you gave to your siblings. Now, continuing with our questionnaire, can you share a specific instance where you felt particularly overwhelmed or discouraged by the obstacles you faced? And how did you find the strength to keep going?
Well, like I said, resilience for me is my medicine. Obviously, you feel homesick because you don't have your family, you don't have your friends, you don't have your food. You know, food is a big thing here. We come from a place that you eat good and come here and have hamburgers and hot dogs and things like that, or TV dinners. Mostly I would have TV dinners.
The
For
frozen
me,
kind?
La frozen kind, exactly. Exactly.
As a segue, what advice would you give to other immigrants who are facing challenges in this country when they just come? What kind of advice can you give them to make things a little bit easier?
Not to give up. Not to give up, because this country has millions of opportunities. Be focused, know what you want, and go for it. So just don't give up. Don't miss any opportunity that presents in your life, because this country is specifically for immigrants who really want to succeed. Happened to me. I work hard. I started from like being cleaning floors to working in a really. I just retired having a really great job.
Nice. That gives a lot of hope, and I really like your advice. Do not give up, regardless of whatever difficult situation we are facing, because life has challenges, and we always have to planify and we have to strategize. And when something doesn't work, we have to be adaptable, right?
Absolutely. There is no way, exactly. If you want to succeed in life, you have to keep going and ask for help. There is plenty of resources in United States now with the technology. The people who come here, they just Google it, anything they want. We didn't have that when we came in the 80s. There was no such a thing as a second brain. For me, Google is my second brain. Anything I need, or I want to know, I just Google it. But in that time, it was impossible. So now people come to this country, they have this advantage to look for help, ask for help, and resources are in this country plenty for any kind: medical, education, jobs, friends, everything.
I love your positive attitude. Now, looking back on your journey, what are you most proud of accomplishing despite adversities and all the difficulties you faced?
I am very proud of that. I put myself to school. I went to the college and I got my degree. And that's why I was able to change the kind of job that I was doing. I was hired by the Marin County District Attorney's Office in 2000. And I just retired 24 years working at the
24
police.
years. Wow, that's a long time.
It's a long time, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
I am really proud because my education helped me to get to that point.
that's really good. I am so happy that I had the opportunity to interview you and hear a little bit more about your journey and all the challenges you face. But what I've noticed, my takeaway is you're a very positive person and you see all the good things in life. So your attitude helps you to conquer any kind of challenges. And you said you don't give up. So that's a really good advice for anyone who is facing any situation. So, if you were to give like a final thought, a final words of advice to any newcomers, what would you tell them?
I would tell people to work hard. Don't minimize themselves because we are very powerful. To just work hard, I would say.
Right. And would you
Yeah.
advise anyone who is planning to come to this country to learn English before they come here or to learn it here? What would be the best way to handle this barrier, in your opinion?
Ideally would be to learn the language before we come here. But considering that Peru is a poor country and it's not possible for most of us to take English classes because that costs money. You know, if somebody is trying to emigrate to a country that they don't speak the language, could be French, could be Japanese or Chinese, please, I would say, try to learn at least the basic, you know?
Right.
Because it's very hard when you come with a zero language.
Having that foundation is going to help you really a lot to, gain the language skills, and then you will be learning a lot faster comparing to not having any of that.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the key.
And then most people who come here, they have to work really hard to cover for all expenses. So it gets really hard to have that, energy to continue and study after work when you are already tired. It's a sacrifice. It's doable, but I think would be a lot easier if you at least learned something before you come here, right?
Totally. But now we are in this time that you can, like you said, there is YouTube, and also there is classes online. You can register to school. There is classes. I know a lot of people who they can, learn English being at home.
I completely agree. I learned French during COVID, and I can speak French
See?
now, and I did it
See?
online too.
See?
Yeah,
See?
it's doable. Yeah.
Totally.
especially
doable.
especially now, because you can even take classes in a different country. I took my French classes in Peru because the cost price more effective, because the tuition in Peru is a lot lower than here, and I was able to get intensive classes, and then I combined it with some classes here in San Francisco as well. But it was a lot cheaper and faster to learn it that way. And then when I went to France, I was able to talk to everyone without any issues, and I didn't have a problem understanding because I was watching YouTube videos.
And so when you speak the language, you can, find better jobs, better opportunities. And also the other big challenge is to be legal in this country.
Yeah, that's another
Without-
challenge. Yes, because
Yeah.
some people who come here and they don't have the legal papers to find work, so it's going to be a lot more challenging, but it's not impossible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It has
I
to do
agree.
a lot with your desire to keep growing. Find a little loophole. Like they say, put your foot on the door and break it and then do something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a great way to say it. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Cool. So I really appreciate your time, Nilda. Thank you for allowing me this moment to hear and learn more about your journey. I would love to talk to you in a future opportunity to keep learning from you, because I really like talking to people who have lived longer than me, because they have other experiences and we can learn from each other.
Exactly. No, thank you. Thank you for thinking about me. It's an honor to be interviewed by you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. I am very excited to introduce our new guest. His name is Sylvester, and he will share his journey as an immigrant in the United States.
My name is Sylvester. I'm from Brazil, and I've been here since 2017. I think almost 7 years. Yeah, 7 to 8 years.
Thank you for the introduction, Sylvester. Can you tell me more about the challenges you faced when you first arrived in this country? What were some of the obstacles you encountered, and how did you manage to overcome them? Tell me more about your experience. I am dying to learn more about your journey.
Some of the biggest challenge that I faced first arriving here were like adjusting to different culture, and of course the language barrier, and like everyone else, like finding employment. navigating like to unfamiliar systems.
Fantastic. Tell me more. How did you navigate the language barrier? What level of English you had when you just arrived? And what strategies did you use to communicate effectively?
Okay. So when I first got here, like I had like zero English. First thing I did is some online classes and try to learn by myself. When I feel a little bit more confident, I enrolled in language classes for adults. Then I had a chance to practice like with native speakers, use the language learn apps. That's it.
Like Duolingo?
Duolingo and some other website for they have some free courses that you can take. It was really good.
Mhm.
Actually, the U.S. government they have some like courses available that everyone can take for free. So I took advantage of it to learn more.
You know, when I just arrived, I also joined the adult school to learn English. I wasn't fluent. It took me about 9 months to get fluent, but it was a lot of work.
9 months? Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
really fast.
Besides that, were there any cultural differences that you found particularly challenging to adjust to, and how did you adapt?
So yes, and to adapt, like the best way for me was observing and learning from locals, right? What I did actually was being more open mind and respect the culture first, and then try to understand the reason behind some attitude, asking questions. Just do it. Doing learning by doing, like doing every day. Yeah, that's how I did it.
So you kind of embrace the Nike attitude, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Even if you don't understand, just do it.
Yeah, that's good. And did you encounter any discrimination or bias in your new community? And how did you cope with these experiences?
Yeah, I think it's kind of natural to face like discrimination, especially because some people they're gonna see you as a threat. Like they're gonna think, oh, this person is gonna take my place. They're gonna take my opportunity, and they're gonna treat you like in the different way, right? They're gonna prejudge you. The way that I have to face the kind of situation, first, like we just ignore it and like I did it, and focusing on building a support like network and improve yourself and learn and move on.
Did you feel like an outsider?
No. I don't know how to explain to you, but discrimination is not only exclusive to the United States. So usually we have every kind of discrimination, even in my country, right? For any level of the society, you're gonna find discrimination. So it's something that I get used to it.
Now, shifting our focus, what resources or support systems did you find most helpful during your transition to this new country?
Definitely was the language classes that I took. It was really, really, really like important, and I'm glad it was available.
That's wonderful. Did you find any difficulty in finding employment or accessing education and healthcare services? And how did you overcome these challenges?
Actually, I know that it's really hard for most of people to find employment, but for me, it wasn't. I cannot tell you that it was easy, but I can tell you that I was open, right? I was open, so I decided to start doing like simple jobs, simple position, and of course in big companies where I can learn more. And this is exactly what I did. So I started for the position like considered like a low position, and working there, I had a chance to prove my skills, understand how business works here, and eventually they gave me an opportunity, and here I am.
Well done, great strategy, and it worked for you. I suppose you were authorized to work here, so that may have been an advantage for you.
Yeah, I was authorized to work here. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a big difference, but still moving
Yeah.
into a new country is very challenging. Can you share a specific instance where you felt particularly overwhelmed or discouraged by the obstacles you faced? And how did you find the strength to keep going?
Here in the United States, it's very common to go through a process called interview to get some specific positions. When I first started, like with my level of English and doing some interviews, besides I have the skills, I didn't have the English enough to understand even the questions was really hard for me. But like thanks to my network, I have some like managers teaching me how to improve my skills during the interview. They would explain to me that I was like ready to do an interview and I had a chance to learn from the best.
Oh, that's good that you had some support. Now, have you experienced any homesickness or feelings of isolation since moving to this new country? How have you managed these emotions? Now, given that you are from Brazil, I suppose you are very friendly.
Yeah, it's true. So actually, I'm an introverted person. So in my country, it's very common. People they celebrate. They have they have a lot of parties everywhere. They love to hang out together. But like outside of the, how can I tell you? I was kind of different. I really like to stay alone with my closest friends. Here is something very common. Now I have my privacy, my space. I don't have to visit anyone the weekend. I have some time to myself. So, yeah, for me, in the specific case, it wasn't like any difficult. I didn't feel isolated because I like to be there like that.
Okay, in that sense, you embrace the American culture where they give you your space and you felt more comfortable.
Definitely, yes, yeah.
That's good. And now, what advice would you give to other immigrants who are facing similar challenges in their new country? Meaning, probably they don't have friends, they don't have a job, they don't speak the language. What would you tell them? How can you inspire them? What can they do so they don't give up?
So, first of all, I can definitely say look to the past. Look from where you came from and compare. So if you feel that the place that you are right now, the situation you are right now is better than what you had in your country, so if you really think they're worth it, so stay resilient. Seek support from community resource and organization. Stay positive. And like my main advice is be open-minded and adaptable. So, and never hesitate to ask for help when you need it.
So, looking back on your journey,
Uh-huh.
what you have accomplished so far, despite
Okay.
all the adversities you have faced, what are you most proud of?
Oh, definitely. I'm proud of my career because I was able to build a career in another country from the scratch, and took me along only 5 years to build this career, and I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of it because it took me some like effort, some nights studying, talk to myself in the mirror, reading a lot, watching a thousand of videos to understand a lot of things. And I'm still in a halfway of my goals.
Now, can you share what kind of job you do and how did you get prepared for that job?
Okay, so currently I'm a safety specialist. And the way that I got in this area was understanding all the companies they have to deal with the environment. They have to deal with the safety of their workers. I noticed that this is an area that I can actually help. And then I decide to learn more and understand more about this area. That's how I got here.
That's wonderful. And did you have to pursue some kind of training? Did you get a certificate? How long did it take to get your foot on the door for this career path?
I started learning by doing in the beginning, and then my managers, my supervisor, they was kind of guiding me and telling me what is needed to move forward to go to the next stage, right? This is where I say you need the certification, you need that one, you need this one. to move forward. And I was like, okay, let me do it. And then I started take some certification. Like took me like 3 years to finish one, like one more year to finish another one. So yeah.
So it was a process. And one more thing that you should be proud of, you are fluent in English. So that's something else you need to celebrate.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for that. It's very encouragement for you.
Yeah. Well, it was great having you on this interview, and I appreciate your time. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day.
You too. A pleasure all mine.
Great.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. As we continue with our interviews in our show Rise Above, I'd like to introduce our special guest, Matt. Matt, would you mind taking a moment to introduce yourself to our audience? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and what country are you originally from?
Hi, my name is Matthew Fernie. I'm a senior graphic designer, and I'm originally from Canada.
Canada, it holds a special place in my heart. I would love to visit someday. Moving on with our interview, can you please share some of your experiences and challenges as a newcomer in California?
Being from Canada, there really wasn't language barriers. There's just local language, and I had a bit of an accent, a Canadian accent, so it did make some things a little different, but overall I had no issues communicating when I first got here. I don't think I ever really encountered any discrimination. I think the biggest probably potential issue was it was just when I moved to San Diego, it was just a lot more diverse. I grew up in a small town, so I didn't really get to see that many different types of people from different cultures, different races, so I think I just had to be more open-minded.
Matt, could you share a bit more about your experience after you arrived in California? How did you navigate the transition, and what were some of the challenges you faced along the way? We'd love to hear more about your journey.
When I first got here, I had to apply for a student visa to go to the local city college, and it actually wasn't that bad of it didn't take too much to get it approved. And then work-wise, I was able to find a job actually under the table that it wasn't legal, so normally it'd probably be a lot more challenging.
Now, Matt, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience? Were there any cultural differences that you found particularly challenging to adjust, and how did you adapt?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest issue I faced was just adapting to being in a large city and not knowing people, not knowing the local places, where to go. It was just a culture, or not a culture shock, but it was just a shock being in a large city and probably being a bit naive growing up in a small town.
That's very interesting. Matt, have you ever experienced homesickness during your time in San Diego? Adjusting to a new place can often stir up feelings of longing for home. Can you share with us how you cope with those emotions and any strategies you found helpful?
Yeah, definitely, especially early on. I mean, I left my mom. She was still in Canada, and that was probably the toughest part, just being away from her. And, she raised me. My parents had separated when I was young, so she had raised me, and I grew up there my whole life. So that was the biggest challenge, and then I would just try to talk to her as often as I could, and that helped out the most.
What resources or support systems did you find most helpful during your transition in this new country?
The biggest support system I had was my parents. My dad and my stepmom were in San Diego when I moved there, so I didn't know anybody knowing my age or anything like that. So having my family, my parents there, was the biggest support system I had, and they made things easy for me to transition.
Matt, during your transitional period in San Diego after arriving from Canada, what kind of support system did you rely on? Family, friends, or perhaps local resources? It would be interesting to hear how you navigated this new chapter in your life.
In my situation, it was much easier than probably what a lot of other people would face, but I think the biggest thing that I could, hopefully you know somebody or can meet somebody where you're trying to go and lean on them, and hopefully, just find that kind of support system to help you out. I think that's the biggest advice I can give somebody, is just to find that support system when you arrive, or when you're gonna arrive in the place where you're going.
Matt, I am curious to know, was it challenging for you to make new friends during your time in San Diego? Adjusting to a new environment can sometimes present hurdles in forming connections. Can you share some of your experiences with us?
Yeah, it was tough to make friends, definitely. When I started going to school at the city college, that was probably what helped me the most. And then I was able to get into extracurricular activities and different things, and that really helped me meet people my own age.
Matt, tell me a little bit more about your experience making new friends in San Diego. Building new friendships in a different city can be both exciting and challenging.
Where I grew up, everyone was a lot more talkative and friendly, but it was a small town too, so I think that made a big difference. So I think here the biggest thing was that, like, I know people would sometimes talk to me, but I don't know if they necessarily were actually like really interested in starting a conversation. They would just, maybe talk to you just because, not because they actually wanted to get to know you or that kind of a thing.
Shifting our focus, I'd like to learn more about how you found your jobs, how you got hired. Navigating the job market in a new city can be quite the journey. Can you walk us through your process and share any tips or strategies found effective?
Yeah, I've actually been really lucky. My family here, been able to get me jobs or help me get connected, and that helped me out a lot. So I've been really lucky. I've been basically working my whole time here, and I think it's partly probably due to being a graphic designer, being in a technologically related field, and design is kind of used everywhere, so that really helped me.
Matt, very quick question. Is it possible to become a graphic designer without a college degree? How can you get more training? How can you learn more about this field?
I would say a lot of it, I mean, if you have a computer, or even if you don't, I mean, you got to just kind of be really interested in creating. You could be drawing, you could be doing art of any kind. If you have a computer and you can access online, there's so many resources, tutorials. You can learn a lot just on your own, and then hopefully you can find some kind of program or school-related design program that you could get into that would give you some kind of a certificate or something, just to kind of have that kind of documentation for it. I think you could, if you can show through your work that you're that talented. I think you definitely could, but it would be challenging because I think a lot of the times companies look for that degree.
Looking back on your journey, what are you most proud of accomplishing despite the adversities you've faced?
I think I'm most proud of just being able to, when I was back home, I didn't have any plans to go to school or get my degree. And so I think coming here, working, getting my education, and then finding a job, starting a family, I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, that I was able to actually do that and then start a life here.
Matt, thank you for sharing your journey with us and shedding light on the immigration experience. Your story resonates with many of us who have also navigated similar challenges. As an immigrant myself, I can relate to the feeling of not having friends and trying to make connections with other people who are from a different background and they have a different cultural experience. Your openness and honesty are appreciated, and I'm sure your insights will inspire others facing similar situations.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. It was great talking about my experiences.
I want to give a special thanks to all our guests who have taken the time to share with us their personal journey. They gave us pieces of advice that are very valuable, such as never give up, you gotta be resilient, strategize, have a plan, keep learning, improve, work hard, adapt, be open minded, and very important, you gotta work on your networking skills. For me, the takeaways from these conversations are, again, never give up, resilience, hard work, learning the language. Learning the language is essential to open up doors and to continue growing As an immigrant myself, I can share with you some strategies that I use to embrace the American dream and work towards the journey of achieving my goals. Let's remember, it's not a sprint, it's a journey. Here are some pieces of advice that have guided me along the way. 1. Embrace continuous learning. Language skills, super important. You gotta prioritize learning English. If it's not your first language, you gotta work harder to get as good as you can. Further education. Take advantage of the educational opportunities. Enroll in community college and transfer to a university or a four-year college. 2. Build a strong network. Super important. Community involvement. Get involved in local communities and immigrant support groups. Professional networking. Attend networking events. Join professional organizations. Connect with mentors who can provide guidance and support. 3. Set clear goals. Short-term goals, long-term goals. Know what you want. Have the pathway so you know where you are going. 4. Seek opportunities for growth. Job opportunities. Be open to starting with entry-level jobs. They provide valuable experience and can lead to better opportunities. Volunteer work can take you to places. Build your resume. Expand your network. 5. Adapt to the culture. Very, very important. Cultural understanding. Learn about American customs, traditions, and social norms. This is helpful to integrate better and feel more at home. Maintain your heritage. Oh, we have to adapt, but we need to embrace our own identity. We need to be proud of who we are. Connect to your roots. 6. Financial planning. Budgeting. Learn to manage your finances effectively. Budgeting and savings are crucial for financial stability and achieving your goals. Financial literacy. Educate yourself about the financial system, including banking, credit, and taxes. Make sure you pay your credit cards on time. Don't borrow too much money that you are not able to pay each month. It's better to pay every credit card in full at the end of the month. Otherwise, don't buy anything. Save. 7. Health and well-being. Very, very important. If you don't have health, you don't have anything. So access to healthcare is very important. You gotta maintain a good diet, exercise, keep your mind healthy. 8. Stay informed. Legal awareness. Stay informed about your rights and responsibilities as an immigrant. Seek legal advice if necessary. If you have to sue someone, make sure you do it. Community resources. Utilize community resources such as libraries, a great place to go for learning, borrow books, go to community centers, and there are immigrant support organizations. 9. Be resilient. Very, very important. Perseverance. Understand that setbacks are part of the journey. Stay resilient and keep pushing forward. No matter how many times you fall, you have to get up and keep going. Keep pushing, baby. Positive mindset. Maintain a positive outlook. Focus on your progress and the opportunities ahead rather than challenges. Never compare to others because each person has a different start, comes from a different family, they have different education experiences. You are unique, so do not compare to anyone. And 10, give back, support others. Remember when you started, when you didn't have any kind of resources, no help. So put yourself in that mindset and then help other people. Find ways to support and mentor other immigrants. Sharing your experiences and knowledge can make a significant difference in their journey. Remember, achieving the American dream is a journey filled with challenges and opportunities. Stay focused, keep learning, and be persistent. Your hard work and determination will pay off in the long run. Do not give up. Do not give up. Do not give up. That's what our friend Gil mentioned. Do not give up. And Nilda said the same. Sylvester and Matt, everyone repeated the same phrase. Do not give up. Keep working. Keep going for your dreams and achieve success. And success can be measured in different ways. And thank you again for tuning in to Rise Above. This is your host, Nancy. We hope you found inspiration in the stories shared by our incredible guests. Their journeys remind us of the power of resilience and determination. Until next time, keep striving, keep believing, and remember you too can rise above any challenge. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.